Hello, everybody. It's Dave Neal, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. If you read the title of this video or saw the thumbnail, you know it's a heavy topic to discuss. So trigger warning, absolutely, regarding self-harm and all of the sort of mental health issues that may come from, wanting to hurt yourself, right? That's what this sort of conversation is about. A death hoax confession exposed. Josh Sider, who was on Kaitlyn Bristowe's season of The Bachelorette, boy, feels like ages ago, has confessed to creating a death hoax. He shares his explanation, although I must say any explanation really reveals one thing, that there's a mental health issue happening here. And we hope for his healthy recovery, and we hope that by sort of deburdening from holding on to the truth, which is that he formed a suicide note, he claims, because he was preparing for that suicide, and whether or not that part was true is really only up to God, right? No one knows but him and God, but it doesn't really make a difference with coverage of this story because he was living this lie, and now he's come forward and confessed, and I think that's a good thing. And I think it would be nice to live in a society where, I'm not saying we redeem people and just, go trust him again, like of course his trust is shattered, but that's okay. That's okay, and I think living in a society where we let people own up to their mistakes is a good one, and I would welcome any other people in my circles or any other circles, for that matter, to own up to lies and confess and deburden. And the truth is just so much easier than a web of lies you might live, and we're going to showcase that right now. Former Bachelorette star Josh Sider says hacker posted false death report to Instagram. So, of course, he went on multiple Bachelor podcasts and TMZ and all these other places to discuss what actually went down, which we're now finding out is all and not the story. I'm going to share this statement right here, which he released last night, which confesses to the whole thing. I'll have that in a second. But what was said was the Bachelor posted a video saying he was alive and well, but not after, really like 22 hours or something after there was a death statement. Somebody was playing a cruel joke, he says. So I'll share that in a second. But the initial statement was really sad. The statement called him an incredibly bright light in an increasingly dim world. Although our heartache at Joshua's passing pains up beyond measure, we find comfort in knowing that he is finally at peace. We hope and pray that his spirit can continue to live on in the pictures and words on this page, which we will leave up for the time being. The question is, if he was going to actually harm himself and unalive and all that jazz, why would his Instagram statement come from the perspective of his family? We'll see if he addresses that. But first, here's what he had to say after coming out as not dead, but continuing the belief that it was a hoax.
You can see I am alive and well. My account was hacked. For the last 24 hours, I've been trying desperately to get into it. Somebody was playing a cruel joke and mocking my mental illness and the struggles I've gone through with depression and suicide attempts. And I'm sorry for all the pain they caused when they made that post. I just got back into my account. I am going to do all I can with my team to try to identify who is behind this. But again, I apologize for the confusion, and I will update you guys as more facts come in.
And the biggest question people had was, even though for 24 hours he couldn't get into his Instagram, somebody else could have alerted the public that he was okay, family, friends. If there was a death hoax announcement on my Instagram, I have about 50. I could let the whole world know in about 13 seconds through my wife, through friends, through family, through other accounts, Reddit. I mean, it's not that this is a be-all, end-all platform. This isn't like communist China where there's one platform that you can get the word out and everything else is shut down. Again, maybe I'm sure it'd be easier in China than. I'm sure within 24 hours in China, you could also get that statement out there. So then he corrects why his fake death post wasn't his priority.
To the bottom of any of this, how that happened, why you were locked out?
No, I haven't. I don't have an official team. I'm just a lowly mental health advocate. So I don't have like official PR team or team of experts that know how to handle this kind of a thing, and I'm not technologically savvy.
So the TMZ guys, I mean, Harvey Levin, he's a lawyer, right? They're not buying this whatsoever. You can tell from his body language. They don't buy it. And here's the deal. Like I said, I can give grace. Maybe you won't in the comment section, but whatever sadness and depression and whatever feelings you have that would lead someone to self-harm, those are the same feelings that would lead someone to create a fake death hoax post. And I wouldn't want anyone to ever feel that way. You might say, no, he didn't ever feel that. He's just attention seeking. Either way, it's crazy. And a normal person wouldn't do that. And therefore, I empathize with whatever he's going through on the inside. And I hope that by admitting to it, it's one step towards a little bit more authenticity and maybe asking and seeking that help. Now, we know he has sought medical and mental health help before. We know he has received it. Whether or not it's a continued trend or the dosage isn't right, I have hope that he can figure it out.
So I haven't really gotten any answers. I was locked out of my account for about 18 hours.
This happened to me, and somebody had hacked into my account and said I was dead, and then everybody starts writing the story. It's surprising that in some way that it wasn't cleared up by you or your family.
So of course he's onto it. Everyone's onto it, and he posted this then on September 25th. For the last month, I've received hundreds of hateful messages and unending harassment related to my account being hacked. I wish I was stronger, but I can't take any more, and I'm logging off of social media for good and checking myself into a wellness facility now to try to get some kind of a handle on my mental health. I'm losing my phone in the next hour. I love you all. To the people sending me death threats, you win. Now, of course, none of these death threats would be credible. I can't speak for him, but like most people just want someone to be well, and that's what I'll show you when I show the Instagram post by him. But Ashley and Ben interviewed him, and I don't know if they believed him or not, but of course, being alumni, I'm sure they had some empathy for what he was going through.
So you say that it was hacked on Monday, and
can you just tell us the story? Like, what happened?
So I was trying to log into my account on Monday. I couldn't log into it, which is weird because normally click the, I have an iPhone. I click the Instagram icon on my iPhone and I'm automatically taken to my profile.
All right, we don't need to hear the story because we now know it's all BS. But here's Sean Booth reacting to when he found out that Josh Sider was no longer dead. So I'm going to play Sean Booth reacting to the news when he found out that it wasn't an actual death, that it was a hoax. And then I'm going to share a moment where Josh has actually contradicted himself regarding this topic. So it's a sensitive topic to discuss because the second you call BS on whether or not it's an actual hacking versus something he did to drum up PR for himself and his brand, the second you call it out, people go, oh, you're not an advocate for mental health. No, and anyone knows we have a long record here for pursuing the conversation around mental health, but at the same time, it doesn't stop from a lot of the glaringly fishy smelling things that are going on here. Here's a clip from Josh Sider on the Almost Famous podcast. We already shared that, so let's go to what I wanted to go what Sean Booth said here. So hold on one second. I know it's in here. And yeah, look, I mean, you know what's crazy is we were covering this story before I think before the Jane Doe story, but you really have a hard time wondering how someone could just flat out lie, but we just know that that's possible to discuss mental health after hearing that he had passed away.
He just posted a video saying that he was hacked. He is alive. Sean, if you're hearing this straight as we're learning it as well, can I get your reaction to that?
I mean, that's great news. Obviously.
So he goes, that's good news, obviously. And even after all of that, of course. So, okay, great news. And then now we go to what Josh said last night. He posted this on his Instagram. He said, let me see if I can find the actual subject from him. Maybe he doesn't have a subject. I don't see it. No, he didn't post anything in his subject of the post, but here's what he posted on the post. I was the one who was behind my own death statement. Last year was one of the most agonizing times of my existence. I couldn't handle the pressures of life, including the passing of the one man I was closest to, my father. I was ready to bring it all to an end and was fully prepared to do so with the tools I had chosen nearby. I wrote my own eulogy because I did not want to put that added pressure onto my mother, given what she was about to endure. I posted the eulogy with the full intention of no longer being here. It was my suicide note. Thankfully, fate had other plans that day. I want to apologize now for the hurt and confusion I caused when I was broken and at my lowest. For everyone's sake, including my own, I'm thankful I am still here. And of course, he then said, I'm a strong believer that the greatest thing we can do in life is learn from our past mistakes. I agree with that. I'm giving him boatloads of benefit of the doubt here, which is all I can offer. I've invited him to be on my show, and he has accepted that invitation. Whether or not it actually happens, I'm not sure. He said he would reach out to me today, but it wouldn't be for any other conversation other than what one would be feeling like as they're writing that note and how he's in a place now where he's willing to admit to it. Now, he doesn't call it a death hoax. He kind of stands by the fact that he was going to commit the act, and yet he decided not to. And I guess what was going on for those 24 hours, and what did it feel like as you were continuing to lie? You know, those are questions that I have. And as much as we'd want to, like, I don't know, admonish somebody for doing such a crazy thing, I think it's interesting to talk about. You know, not to relate this back to Clayton Echard's story, but I will. I think if it's true that his accuser, Jane Doe, is lying, I think the most interesting thing she could ever do is talk about why she lived this lie for years. What's going on in her brain? Have some psychologists walk her through it. Have all these things, because you could say, oh, so-and-so knew they were lying. Yeah, okay, but why? And if it's as simple as, well, because they wanted clout and they wanted to be a victim and they wanted the attention, all right, well, then let's have that conversation too. Why? You know, none of the answers here come without me, again, asking why. And it's not because I'm operating from some place where, wow, you're such pond scum. You're a horrible member of society. Yes, this guy, Josh, hurt, I'm sure, a lot of people. I'm sure people, my assumption is his close family quickly knew he was full of crap because none of them really gave any statements to make his situation any worse. No one called him out. But anyone who was a friend that couldn't get in touch with him, that wasn't a part of that inner circle, that inner lie, that knew about this eulogy, they mourned him. They felt strong and real emotions. And I know in some sort of twisted way, we always want to know who would show up to our funeral and this and that, but you know, I mean, maybe you could disagree, but everyone has those morbid thoughts, right? You have those morbid thoughts where you're like, who really loves me? How much do they love me? You don't want to find out. You don't want to find out who's crying there, mourning the loss of you, because when it comes out that you're not dead, the boy who cried wolf effect will happen, and you will burn a lot of bridges and lose a lot of trust. Someone said, I thought you were dead. I mourned you, and you just flat back into my life as if nothing happened. Get help and do better. As fans and followers, we care about you. Someone said, it's good to come clean, but you clearly need professional help. Now, everyone knows this. Everyone knows he needs help. I said, nobody is surprised. But with that said, please get help and know it gets better. And I know being told to get help is not necessarily the best thing to be told in this situation. But everyone really says, Josh, everyone knew that you lied, you know, but we didn't want to judge you and this and that. And that's the power of humanity, folks, is saying, Josh, we hear your struggles loud and clear, and nobody's rooting you on more than me and anyone else who's rooting on redemption and overcoming their issues. You know, take the time, figure it out, build a strong base. And again, I don't mean to be flippant to people with like severe mental health issues. Figure out ways to find that peace, figure out ways to share it, and your story will only grow in a positive way. All right. Got a lot of content coming your way. Another Kaitlyn Bristowe story in a little bit. We'll be back with more right after this.